Hello, ePadosi viewers. So today we have our guest, Mr. Raj Salwan. He does not need any introduction today. As we all know, he is city council member from last more than 10 years. And this year, he is running for mayor for Fremont. Welcome, Mr. Raj Salwan.
Hello, Lok. It's a great honor to be here with ePadosi and appreciate all the good work you're doing.
Thanks for coming. So, Raj, as you know that election time is coming. People are excited, but Fremont residents, they have so many concerns going on. Like I'm sure you also heard that people heard about the CVS guard shooting, so people have concern about the public safety. Lot of development projects are going on, like Fremont Hub has a development coming, Gateway Plaza coming, so people have concern over that. So I would like to get your viewpoint, because my viewers are asking me, can you ask Raj and tell us, like, what is as a city council, as well as when you become the mayor, how you take these kind of issues going on in the city of Fremont at this point?
Great. Well, those are all great discussions and right down up my alley. I'm very excited to be running for mayor. I think we need someone that can tackle the big issues. I've been a Fremont resident almost my whole life, and grew up here and worked hard and built a veterinary practice, and now my son has come in the practice, and so I have a lot more time to dedicate for my community, which is City of Fremont. City of Fremont has given me everything. We came here with nothing. We lived in a studio apartment, the five of us, and we worked our way up. We had good schools, good parks, and a great place to stay. And so there's nothing better I could do than serve my city and give back to City of Fremont. The issues are endless. The biggest issue we face right now is homelessness. That's a huge issue. Yep. There's no single bullet for solving homelessness. Some folks, we need to help them with their mental health need. Yep. Some folks need addiction support. Yep. Some have disabilities. We need to address their disabilities. Some don't have a place to stay. We need to figure out how to keep them housed. So there's a lot of issues that affect them, and I can get into the specifics as we get a little bit further. Mm-hmm. The other big issue that we're tackling is public safety. Of all the issues, that is my top priority. I want Fremont to be the safest city in the country, and that will require working with our police department. Many of the other jurisdictions around here, they signed on to the defund the police movement, and that is a misguided path. We need to fund our police department. We need to make sure we have police officers. We need to make sure that we have mental health counselors and social support workers that can help the folks that need the assistance. And of course, development's always an issue. And so that's something that, it requires a deep dive because it's not simple. Yeah. Some things the city of Fremont has control over, some things the state has. And what has happened is there's been a housing crisis for decades, and there's a lack of housing. So everybody wants to come to Bay Area, wants to come to city of Fremont, but we don't have housing for everybody. And we will not be able to build housing for everyone. So that will not be possible. But we do have to follow state guidelines. We have to make sure that we are building affordable housing. We don't want to get in trouble with the state or lose our right to have local control. Cities that have not acted responsibly, meaning they try to fight everything, end up losing their housing element, and so then they can no longer refuse any development. So if you want to have the right to reject projects, you have to make sure that you're in compliance. And I can talk to specifics as well, but just other high-level things. I want to make Fremont a fun city. Mm-hmm. My kids grew up here as well, went to our Fremont Unified School District, and they always complain that there's not things to do. So I want to have more entertainment, more retail, better restaurants. I want to make sure that Fremont is a place for jobs and become the tech capital of Silicon Valley.
Makes sense.
A lot of our CEOs like yourself and tech folks, yep. Many of them are going out of this area. And so there's no reason why they can't just live and work in Fremont. Yep. And so those are some of the key issues, but just circling back, to the specifics, as far as, for example, you mentioned the CVS guard shooting. There's some misinformation on that.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Okay.
So even I was shocked. I'm like, what? A CVS guard got shot? How did this happen? Yeah. But in discussing with the police staff, it was the security guard was approaching the individual that came in, and from what I understand, he was the one that stabbed the individual. And the manager was concerned about that. And the individual then started going back towards the door, and the security guard still kept coming after him. And so the individual was concerned about his safety, so he shot him, which unfortunately was tragic. But our police department feels that that was more of a defensive maneuver and not somebody that just went
intentionally came and shot him.
Yeah, but it kind of speaks to the larger issue. We do have a lot more crime, and there's a lot more concern, especially about property crime. We see these thefts in the jewelry stores.
Yeah.
So it's affecting our day-to-day lives, and that's just not acceptable. We should feel safe in our community. We should feel safe going to CVS or walking around.
Yeah.
And so I think the one is we have to develop a culture of supporting our police department, having to work with them, educate them, train them, make sure they have bias training so that they work well with the community, and provide them resources.
So I would also ask, just to add in the public safety, as you said, our kids also live in this area. And when we heard this news, everybody was concerned. It was like, my son could not even feel, safe to go to even Fremont Harbor. And I'm like, no, it is not, it happens, but you have to live with that kind of thing. You move on, correct?
That's
and,
right.
and I'm happy to ask this question because now the truth, or you can say the story, is not heard correctly in the market. People got very afraid that it is happening, and they are like stopping themselves at home. And they don't need to. So so definitely, I think the question I would have asked you at this point is like, so when we are training the police department and definitely helping them, is there any way residents can help? Or is there any way residents can be more, vigilant so they can help police department or the city in one way?
I mean, the city is only as strong as the community. So I would encourage everybody to get to know your neighbors, form a neighborhood crime watch, where you can have an event, get all your neighbors together. We can send somebody from the police department, and we can create a neighborhood crime watch program. It's amazing how many folks don't know their neighbors, and they're like, "Oh, I never met you before," And so, if we can connect them, they get to know each other, then they know what's normal for their neighborhood and what's not. And we have these WhatsApp groups, but we should also, get together. Also, as Indian Americans, I would encourage everybody to celebrate your culture with your community. A lot of times during Diwali, we have the lights, but people are like, what's going on here? Is Christmas coming early?
Yeah.
So it'd be a good opportunity to get to know our neighbors and invite them. Hey, we're having a Diwali party. Please come. And so that exposes them to our culture and also lets them know that we are also human beings. We also care for them, care for our community, and we want to get to know our neighbors. So I think that those are some ways to also reduce some of the stigma. Other things, we do encourage surveillance cameras. We have neighborhoods that have great cameras, that have license plate readers, that are accessible to everybody. And then, of course, communication. Keep us posted. Email me, call me, text me. Let our police department know if something abnormal is happening in your neighborhood. If there's a repeat pattern, we will look at opportunities to target that activity. But in general, I would say, nowadays what happens is we have too much information.
Yes.
In the old days, we didn't know anything. There was a lot of bad stuff happening in Fremont nobody knew about. Now, one thing happens, everybody knows about it. So from a larger data trend, crime is trending down. But we don't feel safe because of the hyper, we have the videos and the sharing, and these videos make it on news easy. They're very easy, exciting to put out there.
Yeah.
So then everybody feels that, oh my God, this happened.
Yes, informative, but at the same time, as you said, because the same click and same information when coming through you from the 1,000 different channels, you feel like it happened 1,000 times, even if it happened only once.
That's
correct?
right.
So you are right that I think in this social world, that is the disadvantage we have. But at the same time, it has advantage, as you know, that as soon as it happens, people knew within 10 minutes that shooting happened.
That's
Even
right.
that incident at Ross happened last week. Within 5 minutes, full Fremont, I think, almost knew that something happened at Ross.
That's right.
Correct? So that is the beauty. But as you said correctly, people should take it with, with a salt of grain, I would say,
That's
where
right.
you have to read this information and definitely think about it, how it happened, what happened, and try to know the full truth before you jump the gun and saying, oh, that's what happened.
That's right.
So like CVS, to be honest, I feel I'm quite aware, and I read almost different articles what is happening, but this part was totally missing even from me. So that's good sharing news with us.
Yeah, absolutely. And then the larger issue about crime, it's like, for example, our police can arrest somebody, and then we have to present it to the district attorney. Then they have to charge them. Then they have to decide the punishment. So sometimes our police officers are arresting folks, but then they're not being charged or they're being pled down. So there's also a larger issue of laws that are enforced by the district attorneys, state laws that have been changed over the years. And so the residents need to be aware of these things and also support candidates that are supporting public safety, that want to have check and balance, that want accountability. Because over the last few years, there has been a push to decriminalize. And I get that, because at one time in the 80s, it used to be lock them up, 3 strikes, you're out. So it was a little bit too harsh. And then now we're too relaxed. And the pendulum swung too much this way. So now we need to get back to some middle. Say, hey, if you took some bread or something minor, okay, fine, let's try to get them rehabilitated. Or it's a young person, somebody we can work with. But if somebody's stealing every day or several times a day, doing these jewelry thefts, these gang retail thefts that create a lot of fear, those are not tolerable. And so we have to crack down on that. We have to look at policies and laws that affect that. So we do have an opportunity in November. I believe there's going to be a ballot initiative for reforming Prop 47. So hopefully, if it's finalized, then
that's wonderful news, Raj. And I'm sure residents of Fremont are definitely feeling much better now, especially when you are running for mayor. As you lived in city for many years, from your childhood, I believe. And
I love Fremont. It's been a great city, and I want to make it better.
Definitely, and we are looking forward. And because you are the resident from last several years, you saw this city from last several years. So I'm sure you have a better perspective of how you can really increase that public safety. And as you said, that it is your major one agenda in your mayor election this year.
Yes.
So very nice. So guys, ePadosi listeners, so as you heard Raj, and he's here to answer any of your question. Today he touched base few of the issues we are facing, either public safety, homelessness, or the development project. But every other week we are going in more detail about each issue we are facing in Fremont. And we are happy that Raj agreed that he would love to answer any of the questions you have about any of these projects or concerns you have. So please feel free to send us your questions, and we will talking to Raj and asking your question and answering your questions right here at ePadosi.com. Thank you for watching ePadosi.